Hello there, guys. Hello, hello, hello. I am starting my session in about 10 seconds time. Today we are going to be learning how to draw pirates and pirate ships with Andy Sanders. What we're going to be doing is showing you how to draw the pirate ship first, and then from there we will be adding some awesome pirates, some buccaneers. We'll have a pirate captain. He's going to look fantastic. We're going to have a pirate at the front with a cutlass, and she's going to be pointing the way as to where they're going. And we're going to have a little seasick bosun in the crow's nest. He's going to be keeping a lookout just to see if there's any sailors that are out to maybe come and steal their treasure. We're going to be doing lots of cool stuff, including showing you how to do the waves, the details on the ship and all sorts. And if you're enjoying this, if you like it, then please, please, please make sure that you show me your fantastic artworks at the end of the session. You can put your designs on facebook.com, Short and Smiley, or put them on Twitter. You can tag me at Short and Smiley, or on Instagram, you can tag me at Short and Smiley. But whenever you put your artwork on, whenever you do that, please make sure you put hashtag Draw with Andy, because that way I can easily find all the work that you've been doing. And if you do produce a beautiful piece of artwork, then guess what? You might just receive one of these. I have a couple of young gentlemen who have, twins in fact, who this week managed to successfully win a copy of this because they did such beautiful work last week when we were doing our astronauts and our planets. And the week before, a young girl called Isla did a beautiful job too, and all of those guys got one of these books. So if you do a good job, then you can see about winning one of those. If you want one anyway, you can get one from shortandsmiley.com. The books are available there, but you certainly don't have to. So long as you come along and enjoy yourselves today, that is all that matters to me. Right then, so where do we begin with all of this? Well, as it happens, we are going to be starting with the ship. And so I need you guys to get your pens, pencils and paper at the ready. I like to use these ones here, nice big fat chunky brush tip pens. And I'm going to be starting with the waves and the ship. Okay, so the first thing we're going to be looking to do is doing this lovely big wave, and then the outline of the ship is going to be the first thing, and we build from there. So what I'd like you guys to do, and I appreciate this is a little bit tricky for you to see because I've got such a big sketch pad, if you can just really carefully, about a quarter of the way in from your left hand side, make a little dot right at the top of your page. That's going to be a little marker for us. And this is something that I haven't shown you guys in previous weeks. This is something that I use to help make sure that I'm drawing things in the right position. And then over here on the left hand side, halfway down my page, because I've got quite a big page here, I'm going to put another little dot halfway down. Okay, so that's halfway down my page, and that's a quarter of the way along. And what we're going to be doing is looking at where those two points meet. And the reason for that is we don't want to start drawing our pirate ship and run out of space. So instead, I've made sure that I'm putting a little mark in here where a key bit of it is going to be. And I've made sure that I've done it halfway down the page because, again, that's where I want to make sure I start drawing from. And for you guys, this next bit is super duper crucial. Hello there, guys. Thank you for saying hi. I can see a few people have. Hi, Evelyn in York. Hello. What we're going to be doing, guys, is drawing a diagonal line down here, and this is going to be the starting key point of our pirate ship. If you get this wrong and do it the wrong way and it goes wonky, you are in trouble. We don't want that. So instead, let's get it perfect. So looking at my little marker, a quarter of the way along on the page at the top, halfway down from the left-hand side, I'm going to put my line here. And I'm going to draw it diagonally downwards like this. And I'm going to stop around about there. Oh, there we go. So this is the key bit of our ship. If you do it too flat, it won't look like it's sailing through the water really fast. If you do it too high, it looks like the ship's about to tip over. So it's what we call 45 degrees. For those of you that know your maths, that would be, say, 0 degrees, that's 45, and that's 90 degrees. Okay? Oh no, I'm teaching you maths again. Right. And what we do here, we're going to try and join it up like with a semicircle, but we're going to see that the water gets in the way. So we don't do a full semicircle. Instead, we start off... Oh, in fact, you know what's going to be easy for you guys, I think? Let's do it this way instead. This is going to be easier. We'll do, from the left-hand side over here, we're going to do a bubbling wave that is coming all the way up over our pirate ship. And that is the wave that they're going to be sat on. That's going to be easy for you guys, I think. And then we will now start to join up our lines with a semicircle. Hi there, William, 8. Hello, Rebecca Sanders, who's just joined in. That's my biggest cheerleader right there. And we're going to go all the way down here and like it's going to be a semicircle, but our wave is going to get in the way and stop us. So that wibbly wobbly wave is going to prevent us joining it up. But at the other side, we're going to imagine we're joining that semicircle up, so we're not going straight down here. We'll go in all the way around and down like that. Okay? So far, so good. I think we're doing really well. We want this wave to look super believable. We want it to just look, better than just a really quick squiggle. And so to do that, there's a nifty trick you guys can use. And it's where you find the highest point of your wave. Okay? That's here, right in the middle for me. And we're going to do some wiggly woggles all the way down the page. And I'll show you. So just watch this. We'll go over this way and then back and then that way and then back and down. And what that does is it helps it look, when you colour this in, if you put light blue here and dark blue here, it makes it look like a real wave that's going in a direction. It makes it look like maybe there's deeper sea over here and lighter sea over here. It's a really nifty trick. And to add a little bit of believability to it, you can also add what we call some flotsam and jetsam. Flotsam and jetsam is just tiny little bits of ships or bubbles that are just floating around on the ocean. And here we go. I'm going to add a couple over here, a couple over there, and you can see it's just going to be a tiny little detail, maybe one there as well, a little detail that's going to make my waves look that little bit more believable when we come to colour them in. For good measure as well, let's throw in a little shark. I think, like, using my pen, I've maybe not got that line quite thick enough, so I'll just go over him. And then here we go, we're going to have a little shark in the bottom corner. Sharks are dead easy to do. All you have to do is give yourself a little pointy shark's fin. I'm sure all of you guys are okay with that. After all, I've seen your work and your stuff is beautiful. I think a shark's a piece of cake for you. You can colour them in blue if you want them to be a blue shark or a dolphin. I like making mine big black baddie sharks, dun 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 dun, coming through the water to chomp your nose off. So what we are now going to do is see about adding a little bit of detail. Really importantly, we haven't yet drawn the very deck of the ship. That bit's going to come in a minute. The line that we've put in here is actually this one. And even though it's not the thickest line on the ship, it's still the most important, because everything else that we draw is going to be what we call parallel. It means it's going to be in line, all these lines here, they're all going to be in line with this big line that we have just done here. Okay? So, what we'll do, we'll add, before we get carried away, we'll add a couple of cannons onto our ship. And cannons are good fun. So, the way to do a cannon is to do almost a perfect circle. Almost perfect. I'm going to have one over here, and I'm going to have one over here today. This circle has got to be nice and big, like that. And I'm going to stop there. That's not the best circle I've ever done. Even being an illustrator, you occasionally make your circles a little bit too pointy in places. It happens. And I'm going to do another circle over here. Again, I'm going to make sure that I leave a little bit of space. And you can see I'm deliberately leaving the space on the same side for both of them. So here we go. Nice and big, same sort of size. But what's going to go in that space? Hi there, Imogen. Hello. And hello from Hunter. Hi, Hunter. Nice to see you. What we're going to do here is now add the cannons themselves. These are the portholes for them, but the cannons are going to be pointed and facing in a certain direction. So these are about half the size, well, half the width, I should say, of the portholes that we've done. But this is going to be the cannon, the end of the cannon. And we're going to have a black end to it. So in fact, it almost, if you look at it, it almost looks like we're giving our ship a pair of eyes. But they're not going to be eyes. Instead, these are the cannons that are going to be shooting at the bad guys that come along. And then inside, we're going to add an extra circle. Again, it's not going to quite join up, but this is going to be the little hole, the porthole that the cannons are poking out of. And our cannons will need a straight line like that, one at the top of the cannons and one at the bottom, and there we go. We've now got our cannons pointing out and facing in a direction. One of the things I do like to do with cannons as well, and if they're pointing out of a porthole, is to add some little circles. This is a little detail, and I'm using a fine pen. Don't worry if you can't do this, because you've done them so so small you can't quite manage it. If you can, it is really cool to put in some little circles like this. And I have a terrible joke that I came up with. This is honestly the worst joke ever, but I made it, so I'm really proud of it. And it goes like this. I never used to know how portholes were connected to ships, and I never even used to care. But when you get up close, it's actually riveting. And that's a terrible joke because riveting is actually the name of the little circles that we're drawing on here that attach the portholes onto the side of the ship. I also have useless trivia about why portholes are round and also why airplane windows have got round edges too, but I'll share those with you another time. Right, so we've now got those on. Those are our cannons pointing in the right direction. And we're going to need to add some boarding, okay? And this is where that line that we did before is super important. When you add the boarding on your ship, you've got to make sure that it runs in the same direction. So we've done one there, and I'm going to draw another line along here. So I'm leaving around about 1 centimetre, I'd say. If you wanted to make your ship look a bit more rickety and things, you can do that by making this line a little bit more wobbly as it goes along. And there's the next one. So you can make him a little bit more wobbly. It just makes the ship look like he's made from planks of wood that aren't straight. And again, it's not mattering if my porthole gets in the way. I just keep going, and all I'm doing is these little horizontal lines, or long horizontal lines, I should say. And here we go. There we go. I don't even have space to do one there. That is going to be my ship with the planks of wood on. But we want to make it look super duper believable. We want it to look like it's actually made from wood. And some of you guys who joined me for the castles workshop that I did the other week, for those of you that missed it, this one was really good fun as well. We looked at doing unicorns, knights, princesses and stuff. In this workshop, which again you can find on my Facebook page, we did do castles with big wooden doors, chunky doors in fact, that looked a little bit like this. And we're going to be using a similar technique, not identical, but a similar technique for our ship today. Okay. If you want to learn how to draw one of those, by the way, do go and check out the my Facebook page. Okay. I'm now going to get some detail on here, but rather than have all the same amount of lines that I had on my drawbridge and things for my castle, what I'll do instead, I'm just going to put on each of these a little horizontal line, a very delicate one, sort of nice and thin. I'm not going to draw it all the way across. I'm going to stop. Then I'm going to put another one just above it, going in the same direction. And all of these little lines make it look like it is made from wood. So when you do enough of them, you can see there, it starts to look a little bit wooden. There's some other tricks you can do too. So when you're doing these lines, you can put in what we call a knot in the wood, which is like a little circle. And then you can run a line through the middle of it. And that makes it look like it's a real piece of wood again, just by having a knot in. There's another one. And another. And oh, there's another knotted bit of wood. And you can do that on all your beams that you've got here. You don't have to add loads. You can add as many as you want. But it's just something that makes it look and feel more like a real pirate ship that's made out of wood. There we go. Pretty happy with that. I think we've got a nice looking pirate ship going on. However, we haven't quite finished our ship yet. As I mentioned to you guys earlier, you can see here we have the deck of the ship, and that's a bit higher up. All we've done right now is up to this point here. For those of you wondering about my hand, by the way, there's a story behind that. I was actually ambushed by a salmon with a cheese grater, and he caught my finger. So, yeah, I'm hoping that's going to be better soon, but we'll see how we go. The line that we've done here isn't enough yet. We need to do a bit more. But there's a super duper mega important bit, and this is the nice gold bit that I've coloured in. That is going to be the top of the ship's deck. And we're going to put that in now, okay? Right, so here we go. We're going to imagine, we're going to leave space here for one more bit of decking, okay? In fact, if it makes it easier for you guys, you could even extend your line upwards, look, like that. I'll move my paper down just so you can see nicely. We're going to add that little bit there that's going to be the space for one extra bit of decking. And I can do, well, oh, shall I do this extra bit? No. Yeah, go on, we'll do this. Right. And at the back, I'm going to add not just one, that's not just enough space for one, it's going to be enough space, like that would be where we'd stop if we were just doing one extra plank of wood. At the back, we're going to have 2 extra bits. And somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that at the back of the ship you have what's called the poop deck, and that's where the captain steers the ship. Okay, and so these extra little bits are really important. I've left enough space there for 1 bit of wood, and I've left enough space here for 2 bits of wood. What we do is we go, if you imagine this is your circle or whatever, sorry, this is your circle here, we're going to go 1/3 of the way along, then we're going to jump down, and then at the back 1/3 we're going to come up again. So here we go, drawing our line along, and around about 1/3 of the way along, we're now going to drop and curve downwards. So here we go. It's going to curve like that towards our planks of wood that we have drawn already. It's then going to continue. Oh. The nice thing about doing these tutorials is that you guys get to see that even illustrators manage to accidentally mess up and put lines in and things where they don't mean to. So we've done our little bit there, and then we're going to go along another 1/3, and then towards the back of the ship, we're going to come back up again. But this bit is going to come even higher because it's going to come back up and it's going to be level there with the back. And so that's given us 1 extra bit at the front, and it's given us 2 extra bits here when I add this dividing line in at the back. And of course, don't forget, because it is important, we want it to look believable, we will add our little details there on how to draw the wood. Okay, right, and that means that now we have got the highest bit at the back, which is where the pirate captain is going to do the sailing. We've got the bit at the front where our pirate is going to be pointing in the right direction. We're going to now add the little details that we had there, the little dotted metal rivets and things. And so to do this, we now add a little flick at the front and a little flick at the back. And this bit is going to be a bit taller. This bit is a bit like one of the beams of wood, but instead, here we go, all the way around and back up. There we are. Very quickly again, I'm going to zip through this. I'll do my riveting. So lots of little circles all the way along in a line. When you get to this point, you just go down. I like doing little details like this. I find it really therapeutic. You're just doing the same thing again and again. Little circles. If you're not able to do circles because you've drawn your pirate ship a bit smaller, what you can do is just do dots with your pen instead. That also works. Okay. Now, we're going to add a little bit more detail now. We're going to have a couple of things that are really important on any pirate ship. We're going to add the sail. The sail is super duper important, and it's attached to the mast. We're not going anywhere without one of those. Before I do, I'll just stick in that line up to make myself happy. Whee! There we go. The mast is going to go straight up. It's not going up our paper, it's going up relative to our pirate ship. And so to do it, we've got a nice thick space here now, and we can draw just a little bit taller than our deck a line that's going up like this. 2 lines together, sorry. And it's going to be getting a bit thinner as it goes because the mast itself will get thinner and thinner and thinner towards the top. And then when we've done it just a bit higher than our deck, so here's our deck, boop, when we get in line with that, we're going just a bit higher. We're going to have a lovely big long horizontal line, and that's going to be ever so slightly wider, not much wider, but ever so slightly wider than our little cut out that we've got here. So it's going to be about that sort of shape. And you can even, if you want to, make it a little bit wider. I wouldn't go overboard. I wouldn't do it the full width from a ship because that's going to cover up all the wonderful pirates that we're going to be doing. But this is wonderful. This is our big sail. And to make it look like it's full of air, we don't just draw a square sail. That's boring. Instead, what we're going to do is do, and you might want to watch this before you guys have a crack at it. You do a curvy line that bounces up and back. Like that. And it wants to be pointing in the direction that the ship is travelling. So I could have drawn straight lines, but that would look, you know, like they're not going anywhere. And it's not easy to do, because what you have to do is make sure what's called the bottom and the top of the sail are parallel, which means that those two lines are pointing in the exact same direction. But these two lines here are curvy ones that are pointing forwards. It's a tricky thing to do, and I think if you're going to struggle with anything at all in this tutorial, it will be this detail here. But anyway, once we've done that, we can then put a horizontal line in at the top. And we're going to have a crow's nest with the bosun in. So to make it look like he's actually in there, we're going to continue the mast in the middle of it. It's going to be really nice and thin at this point though. It's gone from being fat at the bottom to thinner at the top. And then our bosun will be sat in, and we'll do a little line. Again, it's parallel to our sail, a little one like that at the top. And this is his crow's nest. The crow's nest, by the way, isn't too tricky to draw, but I'm leaving a little bit of a cutout shape. I'm going to do a line that goes out at the top here, make it look like it's sort of a basket that's wider at the top than the bottom. But here, I'm going to leave a little bit of space. It's not going to be quite as high. Again, if I was to join it up with a perfectly horizontal line, you can see there it stops a little bit short, and you'll see why in a second. We need to add our pirate, and what I like to do is to make it look like he's hanging over the edge with his hand, and there's one hand. So it's a round circle, and then another one there, and then here we go, join it up. Okay, so it's almost a trapezium shape for those of you guys that are really into your shapes, but the corner of it has got a circle in the way, and that's his hand. We're going to have him bobbed down as well, like he's a little bit sick and he doesn't want to stand up and look anywhere. You could even paint him in green when you do your colouring if you want to, guys. And to do that, we are going to do a little curve there, and that's going to be the side of his head. He's going to have two little dots for his eyes. That's right in between his hands. And then over the top, we're going to give him his hair. So the way I tend to do hair is I think, right, where is the back of his head going to be? His hair is going to come all the way up and over. And this is just me. I know some guys don't like to do it like this, but it's up to you. I like to start at what's called the crown of his head, which is where all the hair on your head comes from. Okay? And I like to draw all the way over the top like that. And I do a little flick there on the crown of his head too. And I go down like that. Now, it's horses for courses. If you don't like doing that, if you like drawing the hair from here and going all the way around, that's fine too. But it's just personal preference. There's his little ear. And there he is. He's tucked into our crow's nest. We're also going to give it some little wooden plating here. So, again, we're going to do a straight line down the middle. And to make it look right, to make it look 3D, we don't just draw all the lines straight up. Instead, you make them get more leany towards the edge. So right near the edge, you'll maybe have one like this that's almost perfectly in line with it. And then here in the middle, you have one that's not quite as leany, but it's getting a little bit further away at the top than at the bottom. And same over here. There we go. A little bit leany, but not too much. You can add a flag as well if you want to. I like to do the flags because they're always fun to draw. And this is really cool. Again, if you're doing castles or anything like that, you want knights with lances and they've got flags hanging on them, etc. This is a cool trick to be able to do. So just above these guys, above this guy in the crow's nest, we do two very thin lines because that's the top of the mast. It's the flagpole. And then I draw a square like that. And that shows where it's joined up. And then from here, this is quite fun and loose and free. Oh, hi there, I can see Lenny and Noah have said hello. Hi, nice to see you guys. This bit here is where we do, from the top, a big curl that goes round on itself. So it's kind of like an S, but backwards. And this is, if you guys can do one of these nice loose curves, really cool, because to make it look like a flag that's blowing in the breeze, all you have to do is draw a straight line down there and a straight line down here. And once you've done that, you then just try and follow the curve that you've done. So here, I'm going to start off at my flagpole, but I'm going to go up a bit like this, following the line. And then as soon as I hit my other line, I stop. And then down here, well, you can see, I'm going to have to draw another line underneath, but I'm just going to follow the same curve as this one. Down, gently up, and then back down like that. Okay. Hi, Dylan and Riley. I'm not going to draw a straight edge here because it's always fun on flags to give them a little chopped out edge. So you do a little diagonal bit, and that's your flag blowing in the breeze now. You can see the ship's moving along, and we've got our flag as well. Okay, looking pretty good. One of the little detail that's always nice on sails, and this is fun, two things. One, we're going to put some stripes on our pirate ship's sail. That is always a nice thing to do. The other thing is to give it some patches, and the patches you want to do first, and here's why. If I draw a patch over here, this can be where we've had a hole, maybe a cannonball or something shot through our sail. But it's just a square with a few little lines on. That's showing where it's been sewn back on. And ditto over here. You can make it look extra believable by making it follow the curve of your sail. And those little lines there just make it look like it's stitched on. And now we need to make this sail look like it is stripy and blowing in the breeze. And that's not that's not an easy thing to do, but I'll show you a really nifty trick. What we're going to do is halfway along here, we're going to add a curve that is the same shape as the curve at the front and the back. I'm using a fine liner just because I like to do these bits a bit thinner, but you can use whatever pen you've got. If you've only got one pen, that is not a problem at all. So I'm going to do a curve out and back in, like that. And then I'm going to do two more on this side and two more on this side. So again, I'm going to try and spread them out. I'm going to put maybe one there and one there, so they're equally spaced out. I'm going to give myself a bit of space here as well, one there and one there. And all I'm going to do is these curves that make it look like I've got some stripes on the sail. When I hit the patch, I'm going to stop drawing and then continue underneath. There we go. Same over here. Follow the curve, join back down. Follow the curve, and join back down. Bizarrely, I love colouring in the stripes on ships. I'm not going to do it right now, but that for me is always one of the fun bits. I don't know why. It's when you're an illustrator, you get weird things that you really enjoy doing, and for me, it's colouring in stripes. We need to have a pointy bit at the front of our ship. So to do that, what we're going to do is give ourselves an extra bit here. This is going to be the deck where we have, I don't know what you call the bit at the front of a ship. I don't know. Somebody watching might know. Hi there, Jude. Hi, Ashley. Hello. Nice for you guys to join us. And this bit here is going to be a little deck, and it's going to be that the pirate at the front of the ship is stood on. So it's going to go to about there. Half of it is going to be on top of the ship and half of it's going to be coming off. And then at the very front, we've got this fine, pointy, almost like a flagpole, sticking off the front of the ship. Same thing at the back. We're going to need to have something there for the captain to stand on. But to make our ship look believable and to make it look like it's nice and sturdy, once you've done the front bit of your ship with the deck on there, we're going to put in a little, what do you call it? A bracket is the word. So when you're doing building, sometimes you have to put a bracket in to support things. And the way we do that is by drawing down, and then we do a quarter of a circle. You see there, I've done a quarter of a circle, and then back in. And once we've done that, that's going to make it look like the deck is being supported. And I'm a big fan of, whenever you're drawing illustrations, try and make it look as believable as possible. So that means putting in things like, on my castles, it was putting in what you call the lintel to make sure that, you know, the building wouldn't collapse. On here, it's putting in a bracket to support the deck. And these little details will make your illustrations look a bit more believable. We then put in, I think it's called the prow of the ship at the front. And that's going to be a curve all the way around, and it's just holding all these little pieces of ship together. We're going to need the same thing at the back. So again, let's put a bit of decking in here. Our decking, by the way, it's going to be thinner than the other stuff we've done. But at the back of the ship, it wants to come out quite a way, because the poop deck on a ship should be quite long off the back. We can then add another big fat bracket, so it's just a little straight line down and a quarter of a circle. There's a nice bracket. And then we're going to draw a little, just a tiny bit further in, so not at the edge of the bracket, There's a line going down like that. And that's joining up our pirate ship. Okay, looking pretty snazzy. Hi there, Freddie Young, who loves pirates. Okay, I've got somebody else, Ashley, saying they like to draw a person snorkeling in the sea. Well, don't we all like snorkeling? It's good fun. We're doing pretty well here, guys. We've got 15 minutes left now, which is to get our pirates sorted and also to do some clouds for the background. I'm going to do the clouds very, very quickly because this is a super tip that you can use on just about any sort of drawing you're doing. It's a really great background and it's really quick. So I'll just show you this. We've got lots of space over here and we want to add some clouds. The best way to do clouds, rather than drawing ones floating in the sky and trying to get them just right, I like to do big bouncy ones that are super quick and don't take long to do. So I start off at the edge of my page, I do a big circle, and then before it joins up, as it's tucking itself back in, I stop. I'll then do another little bounce like that, like there's a smaller circle next to it. And then all the time, all I'm doing is a big bounce followed by a little bounce. And then another big bounce off like that, okay? And that's going to be our cloud on that side. We're going to have one down here as well on the other side too. So it's going to be covering up, or I say covering up, it's going to be just going above our shark. Big bounce, and then a little bounce. And a big bounce, whee, and then a little bounce. And then a big bounce off my page, okay? That is super, super easy. Big bounce, little bounce, big bounce, little bounce. Use that on anything where you need a background and you don't have the time or can't be bothered to do an actual proper drawing. Top Illustrator tip there. And this is, by the way, speaking as an award-winning illustrator who never actually drew a single background in his award-winning book. As you can see here, backgrounds are overrated. You just need to put the important things in, like, say, an alien and a garden shed that squishes the alien. You don't have to worry about backgrounds if you want to be a successful illustrator. Anyway, let's now get our pirates put in there as well. They need to be in. We're going to have a pirate lady at the front who is looking super duper and jumping up with her cutlass. She's going to be pointing in the right direction. So I've deliberately left myself a little bit of space here. And I should actually tell you one other confession. When I first did my drawing for this, when I first sketched this one out, I didn't actually leave enough space for my pirate lady. Her head would have been going off the edge of the page. So I did even, you might be able to see, there's a little bit of pencil lines that I've had to rub out there. Even as a professional illustrator, I still got the proportions on this wrong. I had my ship going too close to the top of the page, and I had to draw my pirate lady on a separate page like that. So don't think if you go wrong today, guys, you don't quite get things perfect. It matters. It really doesn't. Not everybody gets everything right first time, even me as a professional illustrator. Okay. Now, we're going to draw her head and her face first. So far away from the deck of the ship, so actually quite nice and high up towards the top of your page. This is where we're going to draw her. If you've not got space, just do it on a new bit of paper. It doesn't matter. We're going to do a curve that's going to be round the front of her face and go underneath, that's her chin, and then back there. That curve is going to make up the majority of her face that we can see. She's then going to have a little bandana on so we can't see the rest of her face. And the bandana is going to go up like this and then down. So it's almost like you're drawing an eye shape. Okay? It's not a perfect circle. It's more like you've drawn an eye, curved at the bottom and curved at the top. And then on this, not in the middle, but slightly to one side over here, looking forwards off the edge of the ship, this is where we're going to put two little lines for her eyes. And she's going to have a cheeky smile as well. So just off to one side of her eyes. There we go. She's looking happy and joyful. The bandana itself, we need to make that look right. So what we have to do is do just near where these points have joined up, just on the side of her face, we're going to come out, curve up and over, and then around the top of her head. And then that's where the bandana's folded on itself. We're then going to have a little bit where the top of her head goes. And you can see it now makes it look like she's got that nice round head shape. Okay? So we had the little band, but once you've done the band, you've then got to add this extra bit on top, which shows where the rest of her head actually is. We'll then put a little knot at the back. That's dead easy. It's a little circle right there. And we're going to do some little flicky bits of material coming out the back because she's jumping in the air. And again, it's not unlike our flag that we did. We do a curved bit up there. This time, though, I am going to do
the little nibbly bits at the back first. And when I draw it back in, I am going to try and do it so it curves in the same way back to the head, but it's going to get thinner as it goes. I'm going to do the same with the second bit of material that's coming out. And it's going to curve back in, following the line, getting thinner towards her head. Okay. She's going to be stabbing. She's going to be standing with her cutlass pointing forwards. And so we need to give her an arm that's going to be saying, yeah, we're going this way, Captain. So here we go. This arm is going to come straight out from underneath her chin. None of my characters have particularly long necks. You will notice this if you do all of my tutorials. And we're going to give her a big baggy pirate's jacket. And to do that, her arm, which has come out just a bit further than her head, is then going to have this extra little shape on the front of it. It's kind of like a C, but not quite. This is, if I show you, oh, where's my drawing of her gone? This is her cuff. So we're now doing the cuff on her sleeve. And the cuff will have a big sort of backward C shape there. And then it'll have another one in between that joins it up like that. And that's the nice big fat cuff that you get on pirate jackets. She's then going to have here a tiny little circle at the top next to her cuff. That's her thumb. And then we're going to do a big circle underneath like that, and that's her hand. Now cutlasses, when you're a pirate, actually have a lot of shiny material that goes over the front of them. So if you do a little semicircle like that, you can make it look like her sword has got a little protecty bit to keep her hand nice and safe just here. We can then put her other hand in over here. That's going to be a round circle. And that one is going to be just underneath the back of her head. And again, we'll put a cuff on this one too. So a big sort of backwards C like that. It's going to join up here. And again, a little C in between like that. And we want to give her some hair too. So we're going to make sure that we have her hair flicking out here. And that's going to cover up some of her arm. But the hair is dead easy. You do a little curl up like this. And a little flick up like that. We can also here squeeze in some extra hair that she's got flowing in the wind. Ooh. Yeah, I've gone over my line there. I have to use Tipex if I was going to sort that out perfectly. And then we're going to have a little bit more just coming out from behind her arm. So her arm will curl around like this. She's going to have extra hair that's flicking out. And her pirate jacket is going to be going down here. Now, just before I do her pirate jacket, I'm going to do the rest of her body. And we need to put in, because she's a lady pirate, we're going to give her a little bit of a bosom, which means we do a little curve there. And we then go, once we've done this little curve here for her chest, it's going to come down, and we need to give her a belt. And the belt isn't going to be perfectly horizontal. It's going to dip down a tiny bit and then come back up. And we're going to put a little belt buckle on there. Easiest way to draw that is to draw a square. It's not going to be smack bang in the middle. It's going to be, if you imagine there's a straight line running down from her face, it's going to be going down there like that. You can colour that in brown or black or whatever you want. I like to colour mine in black. And then to do her her jacket, you can see here just to one side of her chest, we're going to put in some curves like this. And this curve underneath here is going to be her jacket. Okay. Now I'm deliberately stopping with this curve, which comes all the way down, because I need to put in her feet. And to do that, I need to do her lower body, which is a curve. And we're going to do some little flicks for her feet at the back. There's one foot. And there's another. And we're going to have the rest of her jacket billowing in the breeze as well. And also, to make it look extra believable, we're going to make a little bit of extra material here that goes up. Kind of like, you know, the old-fashioned way that you draw a pirate's... Sorry, you draw the sea, which is like a little flick up like this. If you're doing the sea, you do loads of those in a row. Well, we're just doing one because it shows her jacket curling round on itself. We're also going to put in, to make her look a little bit extra believable, we're going to put in a little neckline there. And because she is a pirate, we're going to have I can't remember what these are called actually. What do we call these? Some of the ladies that are watching will have to tell me. This bit is going to be a curve here. So one curve, two curves. And then just to one side, to show the fact that she's got a little bosom, we're going to put in another line going down. And this has a little zigzag on, a cross pattern all the way along. What do we call that? Is it a corset? I think it's a corset. I can't quite remember. But there we go. Those little crosses there are how we make it look like it's held together with string. We're going to put the rest of a jacket in as well. It's just going to be a little flicky line here. And that one can be the rest of a jacket. So when you colour it in, colour in the jacket there, the same colour that you give all of this stuff. Okay. So we have a lady pirate, but we need the captain at the back, and he's the last dude that we are going to do today. So here we go. This is my pirate. This is my pirate captain. You'll see here, when I've drawn him, he is after a treasure map, which is flying off the back of his ship. And I'm going to do that bit first. So far off to the side, disappearing off the same, we are going to have a curve. It's like an S, but it's sat on its side. So it's going to go wee, whoop, like that. And then, remember how we did the flag up here? All we're going to do is straight lines going in the same direction. And this can then curve back up and follow the same curve as our S on top. So it's basically like you've got the same shape twice, and you could even, if you wanted to, add some little pirate notes saying where the treasure is, or it's like a letter that's disappeared off the side of the boat. You could even draw a map on there. It's up to you. At this point, we need to add some railings to keep our pirate captain safe. So we're going to add these details here. And these are not very tall. They're going to be two thin lines that are close together. And then two more that are close together, but there's a gap in between. And all you have to do is keep doing these until you get close to your sail. And at that point, you can stop. So there you go. Two close lines and then a space, two close lines and a space, two close lines and a space, all the way along. And these aren't very tall because this is where our railing is going to go for our captain. Woo. And the railing is going to be the same sort of thickness as the deck of the ship itself. It's just something there to help protect him and keep him safe. At the front, we also need to put on a little steering wheel for our ship. Easiest way to do one of these is to do a big, tall shape that's got a semicircle at the top and then comes back down. So it's kind of like a rectangle, but instead of a square, it's got a curved top. And then going around this, we're going to have our wheel. And our ship's wheel is going to be not quite a perfect circle. Instead, it's going to be taller. I say taller than it is wide. You're kind of having to imagine where the rest of the wheel goes here. It's not easy to do because we've got the standing bit in the way. But it's going to be, well, I guess the easiest way to think about it is it's a C that's a bit more pointy at the top than it is either side. That's what we've just drawn. The letter C, but it's stood up. Okay. And then we need to put the little spokes on it as well. This bit isn't particularly easy, but if you guys watch this, I always start off by doing one on the top. So I'm going to draw one here, like this. And you can see he's not quite touching the steering wheel. It's floating above it. But why have you done that, Andy? Well, you're about to find out. The next ones that are coming along on the right-hand side, we want to make it look like this is 3D and looking the right way. So here we go. I'm not going to draw a perfect square now. Instead, I'm going to do a tiny little circle and I'm going to make it look like a little cylinder. And I'm going to do that for all of the ones that are on the right-hand side. It's a little circle at the top and then two straight lines with a curve on the bottom. This one here, I'm going to have the pirate holding on to. So he's going to have a little hand there like that. And then I'm going to keep going with my little cylinders. It's almost like drawing a teeny weeny tin of beans on a side. You have the circle here, and then you have the rest of it there. For those of you that are wondering why I have a tin of beans in my office, all you have to do is watch when we were drawing the other day, doing our last week's tutorial. You'll see exactly why we had that. Okay. Now then, once you've drawn these little tins of beans that are following around the curve of your ship, sorry, your ship's wheel, you can then put on, watch this, you join them up with a curve, and it makes it look like the ship's wheel has actually got a bit of 3D effect to it. On the other side, you can continue on with your circle like this, whee, all the way around. But this time, because they're far away from us, instead what we see here, we just see a little bump like that, and a bump like that, and a bump like that. You don't actually see the full sort of beans effect. It just makes it look 3D by doing that. We can then add some straight lines down here showing where it joins up. Joining them up to the centre of the ship's wheel. Don't forget the one the captain's holding. Okay, and that's how we do a ship's wheel. It is a bit tricky, so if you need to go back and watch that, that's fine. Hello to Ben, Tom and Will, by the way. Nice of you guys to join us. That's lovely. And the super important bit, the captain's hand. We need to have his hand on the wheel because this guy is going to be stretching and he's going to be reaching for the treasure map or the set of instructions about where to get to the lost treasure that are hanging off the side of his ship. So we're going to put, there's his hand, but we need to put on a little finger as well. So he's got a round hand, a round finger there. And then I like doing gloves for captains. It makes them look important. So coming off the end of his hand, we do two little lines that are getting further apart from each other as they go. And then before we join them up, we put one line there and stop halfway along. We put a little nibble there, like it's a bit of leather that has perhaps, you know, been cut or something in a sword fight. And this is his hand, and he's going to be hanging off the edge of the ship, like that. Okay. For those of you that are joining us or are still with us, we have about another 5 minutes to go. So I've overrun by a little bit here today. I've overrun by about, probably about 7 or 8 minutes. But even so, just stick with us and we'll get this last pirate captain done. Okay. He's then going to have his arm coming straight out of his glove. And we need to make sure that he's got a really nice piratey sort of head going on here. We want to give him a big pirate beard. So we're going to put his head in here, but we're going to have a beard that comes all the way down underneath as well. So I'm going to do a little flick here like this. This is going to be the side of his head. And we're going to do, after we've done this little flick, we're going to give him a tiny little, like we did for the bosun, a little bit of hair there. And then he's going to have big, long flowing locks like this, okay? And again, we're going to do the same thing over here. But some of these locks that we do aren't just going to disappear off. We're going to give them what pirates used to have as well. I'm going to do another one just underneath here that follows the same way. We're going to have some little beads in, because pirates did used to do that in the olden days. They used to put little beads in their hair like that. Some of you guys might still do that. I don't know if that's the thing anymore or not. And once we've done these extra little bits here, so I've put a little flick on for his hair, you can then put the rest of his face in. And for him, because he's going to have a big pirate beard, that isn't going to be very much at all. It's going to be about that much there. And that is, in the same way that we've got, you know, the bosun at the top of the crow's nest, we're going to have a little bit of the pirate here. He's going to be staring off after his bit of paper that's disappeared. So towards the side of his head, he's going to have two eyes. You could even give him some panicked eyebrows like that if you really want to, making him look worried. And his hair is going to be flowing down around his face. We'll still give him a little ear so that people can see it's him, see he's a person. But curving round, we're going to come back down. I'm going to give him some more hair that's flowing off in the breeze. And the trick to doing it is just to give it a little bounce up and down as you do it. Okay. He's also going to be reaching with his hand, trying to grab it, but he's not quite going to manage to get there. So his hand is going to stop a fraction short, look. That's what he's aiming for, but he's not quite managed to get it. Now, if you wanted to give your pirate a hook, you can do. It's completely up to you. I'm giving this one, you know, a nice set of hands, but you could easily draw a hook there instead for you. And then he's going to have his pirate cape coming down. His pirate cape underneath will be, by the way, you know, the sort of the nice cloaky effect that we've got. And all these little curvy lines are showing the direction that the wind is blowing his hair. His body is going to be curving along. He's really reaching for this. So rather than having his body going straight down, it curves around like this. And his big pirate cloak is going to be coming down like this. And it is tricky. You've got to make sure that you don't accidentally draw over the top of the banister that you've drawn. The other side of his pirate cape is going to be there too. And I know this is tricky, we're getting quite detailed here, but we're going to try drawing a little ruffle. Pirates used to wear these little neck ruffles that look like this. It's quite hard to describe them other than to say it's like a ruffled bit of material. If you're looking at him face on, and he's looking at you like this, pirates used to have these frilly neck things underneath like that. And there's his body. Woo. Okay. So that's the effect that we're going for to give him this little ruffle. But when we're drawing him on an angle, we have to do it like this. Oh, I'll just put a little line in there for his arm. And his feet, because he's leaning backwards, his feet aren't going to be right underneath his head. He's going to have one foot here, like that. And we can give him another foot that's even sticking up. Again, we have to try and make sure it looks right behind the banister that's protecting him. And there's his tummy. And that is our pirate captain. The very final thing, we've got to have his hat blowing off as well, because he's leaning in a hurry. And his hat is super duper easy to do. So compared to what we've been doing here, where we've got a pirate captain leaning behind a banister, reaching for a treasure map, and his hair blowing in the wind. I can put an extra little flick on there as well, actually. Why not? The hat is a piece of cake. The hat is very, very easy, and it's just a curve, a gentle curve like that. Make sure you put it behind him as well, like it's flying off and it's actually travelling backwards. And that little gentle curve is going to have, and just really is a nice tip, when you're drawing the pirates' hats, don't join the front of them up. Okay, watch what I mean here. Do a big curve up and back down. There we go. But I haven't joined it up. Here's why. We want it to look, again, 3D like a real pirate's hat. And so instead, I'm going to do a little extra line there. And I'm going to go up and around like that. And you can then have, if you want to, a little feather that again is flowing in the wind. And if you've got a pencil, sorry, if you've got a pen even that you like doing details with, like I do, whoops, you can add, running down the middle of your feather, some little flicks like that. And there you go, he's got his feather. And that is, boys and girls, 3 pirates and a shark sat on your pirate ship. We have got our fantastic cannons for shooting the bad guys that turn up. We have got our shark that is going to come and have a nibble. We've got the flotsam and jetsam on our ocean. We've got a really nice sturdy looking pirate ship with riveting on to keep it nice and safe. At the front of the pirate ship we have a lady with a cutlass, which I won't lie, I'm a little bit annoyed that I haven't got that cutlass looking quite right. Again, like I say, even I'm not perfect. And then last but not least,
has asked how to draw a hook, and I suspect you haven't seen
oh, we want to know how to draw a hook. Thank you. Right, so if you wanted to draw a hook on his hand, and somebody apparently has just asked this, as my manager, sorry, wife has just informed me. If you wanted to draw a hook on your pirate captain, that's not a problem. So I've given him 2 hands today, but let's just get back to this point where I say we know how to do this bit. And that is your that's your cuff there. His body's off over here. If you wanted to draw a hook, it's a piece of cake. All you have to do is put a little semicircle on, and then the hook itself, right to one side, you put a little circle like that. You then draw a straight line off, nice and thick, and then here, it's not a semicircle, it's a bit more than a semicircle. It's like 3/4 of a circle. And that goes to a point.
And that is how you can, if you want to. If you wanted to give him a hook instead of a hand, that's fine. You can do that. But that would be how you add a hook instead of a hand. But that's completely up to you guys, okay? Anyway, there we go. That is how we do pirates, including hooks. I hope you guys have enjoyed that. I've had great fun doing it with you. Sorry, thank you, Georgia McGee. I see that you were the one asking there about hooks. That's how we do it. We've done lots and lots of details there. Our pirates who are jumping, pointing in the wind, our little bosun on the top of the crow's nest, the pirate who is reaching for his treasure map and all sorts. When you colour it in, you may well find out that it ends up looking a little bit like this. If you have any questions, if you have anything that you would like to find out, please do so. Next week, we are going to be doing some exciting things. I might put it to a vote, actually. That'd be really nice. If I do a little vote for you guys, you could let me know what you fancy. The options are that we do sea monsters, and we look at doing some fantastic sea monsters to go alongside our pirates. We could do, and this is going to sound weird, but I actually think it's really good fun, gigantic food. So I like to draw gigantic burgers with tiny little people that are sticking out of them, putting all sorts of things in, like lettuce, cheese, mayonnaise, pickles, all sorts of things, basically gigantic tower burgers with people in. Or we could do something else altogether. We have not yet done, what haven't we done? We've done princesses, we've done knights. We haven't done jungle animals. Jungle animals could be something we look at doing. So jungles and animals. I'll put it to a vote. I'll put a little post out there. I'll tell you what, if we do sea monsters, we'll do mermaids too, Georgia. But I'll put it to you guys to vote. And whatever is the winning decision, that's what we'll be doing next week. Okay. Right. Thank you very much, guys. For Joanne, we did do unicorns the other week, so go back and look at the castles session that I did. You'll find that there's a unicorn in there too. Right, thank you very much, guys. I hope you've enjoyed your session, and don't forget, put your artwork on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram with the hashtag DrawWithAndy, and you too could be the proud winner of one of these original first edition picture books. I Have an Orange Juicy Drink, winging your way free through the post to you, to whoever I decide has done the best job this week. Okay, right, thank you very much. All the best, guys. I'll see you later.